of us thought that the trailers for this movie and the poster looked better than you would expect, right? We were like, this movie actually looks really good. And I am pleased to report that the movie itself is as good as the trailers and the poster. They have something pretty special here, I would say, from Blue Sky Studios. It's a little sillier than The Incredibles, though, the obvious comparison, right? But Blue Sky's Spies in Disguise was clearly inspired by the Brad Bird Pixar hit and was probably meant to compete with it, but now is a cousin of the family, so to speak, thanks to the recent Disney-Fox deal, a cousin that Disney and Pixar can be proud of. This movie made me laugh a lot. In fact, for the Critics' Choice Awards, we not only vote for, the best categories that are typical for awards season, but the Critics' Choice also does like best action, best sci-fi horror, best comedy. And for the nominees, you can write down 3 to be nominated, and Spies in Disguise was one of my nominees, which not only says a lot about this movie, but also how few comedies Hollywood is putting out right now. But this wasn't like, I guess I have to put Spies in Disguise down, because what else am I going to put down? I put down Brittany Runs a Marathon, and I forgot what else it was. I'll put it down in the comments what the third film that I put down was. It was a surprisingly hard category to fill. But this is a legit comedy, a very strong comedy. And it's another very strong entry from Blue Sky Studios. Yes, Epic was good. You should watch it. Blue Sky, I think, has been surprisingly consistent in their output. They're a very good animation studio, and so many of us were so happy to hear that Disney wasn't kicking them to the curb with this acquisition. But first, the elephant in the room, or should I say pigeon. How long does Will Smith spend the movie as a pigeon, right? Like Princess Tiana or the upcoming Soul? Well, I'd say the ratio is actually... the human to pigeon ratio is actually 50-50. But it's so clearly Will Smith the whole time that I'd say it works out rather well. I was pleased. And Smith hasn't been this much of a laugh riot in a long time. I can't even remember the last time he was this funny. He is undeniably the star of this film. I was going to say this at the end, but I'll say it now. This is a movie star animation pairing on par with Tom Hanks' Woody and Tim Allen as Buzz. This was very, very good. Now, of course, Tom Holland, all the Tom Holland stands are like, what about Tom Holland? Well, he's his usual lovable self, and it is weird. He's doing more voiceover work these days than live action. But his role, I would say, is secondary to Smith's, both in terms of character design and performance. I think in live action, Holland could have given Smith more of a run for his money on charisma alone. Not that Will Smith isn't charismatic, but Tom Holland's really charismatic as well. I'd say they're equally charismatic, but not in this movie, because the charisma for Tom Holland doesn't translate. Also, Holland's Walter Beckett is the source of the silly. And again, it was a bit too much silly for me. And it makes his character feel a little bit like a character for very small kids. So I was like, okay, that one's not for me. Lance Sterling is for me, right? In a movie that I would say overall does feel pretty adult. But one has to wonder if this formula will work, right? Because in The Incredibles, while that was definitely an all ages, both of them were all ages movies, those films never tried to directly appeal to young kids like this movie does. So you have to wonder if the adult aspects of the film and the kiddie aspects of the film, again, as I said, will cancel each other out, with adults not wanting to see a kiddie film and vice versa. Although it's weird, because here's, like, on that note, some of the jokes here are surprisingly adult. I was like, whoa, that's a dirty joke for an animated family movie. Although, just like in a Bond movie, another super spy, perhaps those will go over the heads of younger viewers. Because it's funny, Bond is, like, old Bond movies have, like, really adult subject matter, like innuendo, but they're also famously watched by kids for generations. So maybe that'll work here as well. But as I said, I could have done with a tad less silliness. The movie, sometimes I was a little bit like, really? Like, I don't want to give anything away, because there are a lot of surprises in this movie, but sometimes I was like, this seems like it should be given away at a kid's birthday party. Some of the things that are shown here. I'm like, I don't know. I might have been tempted to fire Walter Beckett as well. But of course, I don't want to give anything away. But anyway, it's silly. But I have to say, I thought the movie was so funny. And really, I was laughing. I got a screener and I watched it at home by myself, and I was laughing out loud by myself so much. I was actually rolling with laughter. I was like, boy, this is funny. It was really funny. And I have to tell you, it was such a great holiday film. You know, I got it over Thanksgiving break. The embargo's only lifting now. And I was so excited to watch it. And I was like, this is going to be so great. And it just was such a great way to relax and cool off and just enjoy yourself. I really had a good time watching this movie. And also, not only is it funny, but what added to my enjoyment is the animation. Spectacular. I had a fabulous time, as I said, watching this film. So let's talk about the animation. Lance Sterling with Will Smith's voice, well, that's a license to print money. And the locations, I was particularly impressed with the locations, from the spy headquarters in DC to missions across the globe. My favorite was the resort in Mexico. That was a really nice touch. But I loved all the locations. I loved not only watching this movie, but I loved being in the world of this movie. I also felt the movie's message of how it's important to be able to ask for help was not only a good message, but it was delivered very well. It was, it was organic. Instead of, so often with this kind of, family content, they hit you over the head with it. I think the female characters, I gotta say it, I think the female characters were a little weak, but I think that was, there's so much female representation these days. I think it was really nice to put the focus on the guys here. I thought it was great, but I guess what bothered me is that the female characters, I don't mind them being secondary, but being a little annoying, that kind of bothered me. I thought the female characters were a little annoying, and it's like, no thank you. But it was great. I thought it was a really, really, really good movie. And as I said, it has a lot of surprises. And I'm impressed that Fox, and well now Disney, managed to keep those hidden in the ad campaigns. I mean, if you went and you unearthed every TV clip and trailer, maybe you know more than the average moviegoer. But I think for most people, you're going to be like, wow, I didn't know you were going to go there. I thought that was nice. So I'm not going to spoil it here either, because that added to my viewing experience. So as I said, I loved Spies in Disguise. And I'll say it again, Will Smith as Lance Sterling is a movie star animation pairing up there with Tom Hanks as Woody and Tim Allen as Buzz. It was that good. So if you like Will Smith movies, and who doesn't, like the good ones, and are a fan of animation, then I think you will really enjoy this movie. It's a great holiday treat, even as a matinee. If you find yourself taking a break during the holidays and you're like, let's just go put our feet up, get a fizzy soda and some snacks, and watch Spies in Disguise, I think you will leave the theater. I think even while you're watching it, you'll be like, this was a great idea. All right, so that's my review of Spies in Disguise. Share your own thoughts down below. I know they've had some advanced screenings, because some of you have started tweeting me about it. Don't spoil the surprises for people. So if you want to talk about something spoilery, please mark the comment as such. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.